My name is Krista Stebbins, and today I'll be doing my first speech. Did you know that there's an animal that can live for 20 years and get up to 6 feet long? I didn't at first, and then I learned about iguanas. So I got an iguana from my dad, and I had to learn a lot about them because I knew nothing about them at first, and I wasn't too fond of them actually. So once I did a lot more research, I started to become more fond of them and learned to love my lizard. Iguanas can be really good pets, at least to me they can, but they do involve a lot of care. Today I will be informing you about the basic care and responsibility of owning iguana, such as my experiences with an iguana, the basic care and responsibilities, and what can happen if you don't care for them correctly. So first of all, I'd like to talk about the lizards that I've owned. I first got my first iguana, Brody, from my dad. He was a baby at that time, and that's when I started learning about them more and more. And then I got 2 lizards from my friend who was unable to care for them at that time. I got a 5-foot-long iguana and an adult bearded dragon. Unfortunately, one of those lizards, the bearded dragon, was stolen, and the iguana, my mom wanted me to take back to them because she thought that it was sad, but really it was just soaking up the vitamins from the sun out the window. And so that was pretty awesome. And then I got a little bearded dragon from Petco, which wasn't in the best health, so unfortunately passed, which was a little sad. And then in order to learn more about the iguanas and lizards in general, I went to the vet and asked what the best way for me to learn about them would be, and she recommended me to 2 really good websites that they actually use to learn more about lizards themselves, which would be anapsid.org and greeniguanasociety.org, which I will actually be using. That's what I got a lot of my information from. So a big part of caring for iguanas is definitely the care, especially heat. So in their cage, they have to have heat, as they are cold-blooded tropical reptiles. They have to have heat, humidity, a UVB. So during the day, they have to have the UVB, and they have to have a day heat lamp. The UVB helps them with getting the nutrients and the vitamins out of the food that they need, and as well as the vitamin powder that you're supposed to put on the food. During the night, you get a red heat lamp because they can't see red at night. And for their diet, they eat mostly squash, collard greens, and then fruit on rare occasions. And you have to make sure that you give them things that are high in calcium, because that is what keeps them from getting the diseases that I will be talking about later. The enclosure has to be kept clean. You can't leave old food in there because the iguana will eat it, as well as sand or any other things that might get in there. The iguana has a really sticky tongue, and when they lick their tongue, that's how they figure out where they are, kind of what their surroundings are, all that kind of stuff. So if they lick, the sand will stick to their tongue and they will eat it. Yeah, he does eat my hair a lot, so. And then if you don't do any of those, or you don't do them properly, your iguana can get a lot of different diseases, such as metabolic bone disease, mouth rot, the respiratory infections, parasites. My iguana actually almost had metabolic bone disease. We weren't having his temperatures to the right, and like the right temperature, and then we weren't giving him the vitamins he needed in his food. We weren't giving him the right food. So we ended up taking him to the reptile hospital, and we figured out what all we needed to do, because he wasn't moving much. He was just kind of laying around moping. So we were like, okay, well, we don't know what's wrong. So they did a blood test, and they found out that he was getting metabolic bone disease. And so his bones were getting really frail, and they were breaking, and at one point he even broke off his tail, which is now growing back. They're one of the only lizards that grow their tail back. So that was pretty scary. We thought that he had a respiratory infection because the way he was breathing was very loud, and he was like coughing kind of. So we took him in for that, and they didn't see anything wrong, but that kind of gave us a wake-up call that we needed to take care of him better and make sure that we were doing what we need to do to make sure that he is healthy. Also, parasites. Parasites are really bad. You can see like little black dots on them when they have parasites, and that can kill them instantly. So you always have to keep a good eye on your iguana. That's one thing they tell you when you get iguanas, is that you have to keep a really good eye on them. So there's a lot of care involved with owning an iguana. They are good pets though, at least to me they are. A lot of people that I know that have gotten iguanas just fall in love with them. They have such a big personality. They're pretty funny actually. Also, I hope that you learned a lot today with my experiences with lizards, kind of what you can go to if you do get a lizard, like the websites, what you need in order to care for a lizard, including heat lamps, the enclosures, the diet, and what can happen if you don't do all that. I will always be learning more about my iguana, and I hope that you learned a little bit from me today. Thank you.